Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time ever seeing my face, hi, my name is G. I'm a British foreigner who currently lives in Seoul, South Korea, and I like to make content on the realistic, non-romanticized version of Korea. So if that seems like your thing, then please make sure to subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here. If you've spent any time on social media, then you've probably come across TikToks and K-dramas that portray Korean men as being the perfect, ideal boyfriend type. That incredible prince-like figure who is incredibly sweet, romantic, loyal, and incredibly stylish, not to mention insanely attractive. But in reality, things are not always as they may appear. So first things first, I kind of want to get this out of the way before I continue on with the video, because I can already see some of the comments that I am going to get on this video. So I'm going to put a quick disclaimer out there and say what I feel should be obvious, but often isn't to a lot of people. So I'm going to put it out there. I am not saying in this video that every Korean man is going to be like this. I'm not generalizing and saying that you need to be careful of every single Korean man and that every single Korean man is a walking red flag. That is not what I'm trying to say in this video. This is not a video that is meant to bash Korean men as a whole, but there is a massive over-romanticization of Korean men as a whole, especially online, that I feel like really needs to be addressed, as it is harmful and unrealistic. This video is about breaking stereotypes, not about generalizing Korean men. So with that being said, let's take a look at the over-romanticization of Korean men and why it is harmful. So first things first, let's have a look at where the ideal Korean boyfriend stereotype originated from. So the idea of Korean men being these perfect prince-like boyfriend types originated, of course, from the many K-dramas that I have to say I myself have enjoyed watching and appreciating for what they are, which is, of course, fiction. Another huge part of why Korean men became the ideal for many women is of course attributed to K-pop too, as K-pop idols have an image that is very much perfected to attract fans. So first of all, we have this post here, which is an interesting one for sure. With this one, I really just want to cross out the men and put actors, because this is the main thing that I see with a lot of people, is that they think that these fictional men that they have seen portrayed in these dramas are actually somehow the embodiment of how all Korean men act and how all Korean men present themselves. Which is, of course, not the case. The reality isn't a drama, and so many women have shared their experiences with Korean men, and they couldn't be further from what is portrayed in K-dramas. So the clip that I'm about to show you is actually a big reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place, because I saw this on TikTok, and honestly, I was shook.
So it's my first night in Korea. I settled down in my hostel and met some people at the bar, and we all decided to go clubbing together. It was popping, the music was popping. I even met some girls on the dance floor, you know how we do, twerking together. And this guy comes up to me, he's Korean, and he starts talking to me. And he asks if I want a drink. And I say no, politely, of course. I'm a K-drama addict. I'm bowing to everyone. 감사합니다, thank you, everything. I just try to be super and over polite, especially when I'm traveling alone.
Which I completely understand, by the way. I feel like I'm exactly the same way, and I think a lot of women are, in that we try to be as polite as we possibly can when we're trying to turn down a guy's advances, because we hope that that will diffuse any tension that could possibly arise from you saying no, and to just try and, you know, politely decline and hope that that doesn't make him mad, right? That doesn't get on his nerves to the point where he's gonna explode. Well,
then he comes back with 2 shots in his hand and he offers me the drink, and I say no, sorry. I bow and I say no, sorry, I didn't see the drink being poured. No offense, I don't want a shot. I bought, he says, okay, come and I'll pour you one. And I said, it's fine, we've got a bottle on the table. And he's like, okay, cool. I go back to dancing with these new girls I've met in the club. We're dancing, getting low. And he comes from behind me and puts his arm out for me to grab his hand. And I'm like, no, sorry. No, I'm super polite. I'm like, I don't want to dance, sorry.
I think that's what really annoys me about this situation, actually, is she expresses multiple times how polite she was in this altercation. And at this point in her story, I see no reason for why the guy that she's rejecting would be pissed off. I don't see a situation in which this guy would be angry. She's politely declined. You just move on with your day. You just move on with your, I say your day. You just move on with your night. Like, when I first saw this story, to get from this point to what she finishes with is just completely insane to me. Like, I have no idea how it got from this to what it ends up being.
I turn around and he comes into my face and starts pushing my face. One of the guys in my hostel sees this and comes in my defense and says, don't touch a woman. And I get involved because I don't want two men fighting, because I know it could get out of hand. So I said, no, he's only stopping you because you put your hand in my face. There's no beef, sort of. He gets even angrier. So at this point, I de-escalate and I walk off. So I thought I had managed to diffuse the situation. I turn around, I'm walking back to my table, and all of a sudden I feel a very hard knock to the head, and I'm thinking, did someone just bottle me? Only to turn around and see a group of men defending me, and they were foreign men, screaming, he just drop kicked her. Are you okay?
Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard? Like, how did it go from her politely rejecting this guy to him drop kicking her in the head? Like, in the bloody head, no less. Like, literally drop kicked her in the head when she turned her back. Also, that's what really gets me about this, is that this dickhead waited for her to turn her back before he then decided to assault her. Like, I don't even care that this happened in Hongdae, which is a place that is notorious for scumbags. This should not happen, period. And I swear to God, if I get anyone in the comments, like I did in my last Hongdae guy video, saying, oh, well, it's Hongdae, what do you expect in Hongdae? Not to get drop kicked in the fucking head for rejecting a guy's advances. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't feel like women should really expect that anywhere in the world, whether it's in a club setting or on the street. Women do not deserve to get drop kicked in the head when they turn their back on a guy. This is a prime example of men not being able to accept a no, a firm no as an answer. A polite no, no less. I said no like 50 times. But you get my point. Women should not be attacked for saying no. Women should not be attacked for setting boundaries. And really, this video just highlights that, unfortunately, scummy men exist in every single country in the world. Yes, Korea is known for being really safe. However, as this video shows, nothing is 100% safe. No country is 100% safe. And unfortunately, men will disappoint you. No matter what ethnicity they are, no matter where they come from, men will always have the ability to disappoint. So please do consider that when you're going online and constantly making content about how badly you want a Korean boyfriend and talking about Korean men as if they can do no wrong, as if all of them are these perfect beings that are just so ascended beyond any other nationality of person in the world. Please bear this encounter in mind when you go spreading that very flawed ideology. The next point that I wanted to bring up is cheating/infidelity in Korea, and how a lot of people feel that that is very normalized here.
I think people cheat here more than the US. Cheating culture here is crazy. So normal to be cheated on.
Whenever I go out, like with my foreign friends, and we end up meeting like a group of guys, there's always that one who has a girlfriend.
Oh, one?
Probably more than one. One who gets caught having a girlfriend. And then he's like, oh no, it's fine. She doesn't know, or she's on vacation or something, I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of saw this guy for a little bit, and when I figured out he had a girlfriend, I confronted him about it. And he was like, oh no, that's just a funny joke that Korean people do. And I just remember being like, do you think I'm stupid? But I think it's like in America, people are much more like, I would never cheat on my partner. That's so wrong. But they do, you know what I mean? But here it's very like, I think it's a lot more normalized.
Yep. I can vouch for that. I went on a night out once and a guy asked for my cacao and I gave him said cacao. As I added him and looked at his profile, there was a girl in his profile photo with him and they were clearly in a relationship. And so I brought it up to him and said like, oh, who's that in your picture with you? And he was like, oh, that's just a friend.
What did he say?
They were wearing matching couple outfits and kissing in this photo, mind you. And I was like, that's your 친구? I was not born yesterday, sir. Like, that is not your friend. That is a whole girlfriend that you were going to try and hide from me, which you didn't do a very good job of. It wasn't even subtle. It was just there in my face. And I guess he expected me to either believe that she truly was just a friend or just not to care, which is wild. Along that same train of thought, though, apparently now Koreans have gotten better at hiding the fact that they're in a relationship when attempting to contact people on Kakao Talk. Because now, apparently, there's a whole new feature that allows these sneaky people to carry out their sneaky behavior undetected.
I would honestly say that Korea is generally pretty well known, if you actually live in Korea, for cheaters. People cheat a lot. And I'm not saying people don't cheat in other countries. I'm just saying that comparatively, I do think it is quite high here. Even more than that, it's really enabled here. Because in Korea, we have a messenger app called Kakao Talk. And it's just how people communicate and call. You can FaceTime, all those things on it. Literally rolled out a system in this app where you can have 2 separate profiles. And they said it was for dividing work and personal life, but people use it to cheat on their girlfriends. Because usually in Korea, if you're dating, you usually change your profile picture to whoever you're with. And there's usually sometimes even a counter for how many days you've been together. Obviously, this would be a red flag if you see that profile and this guy is asking you out or something like that. But now, he could have a whole separate profile, a whole second life without you knowing.
Isn't that crazy? So now this app actually has a feature where cheaters can get away with cheating much more easily. Ain't that some shit, folks? But if the topic of cheating and how prevalent it is here in Korea isn't enough to convince you that you shouldn't romanticize Korean men and put them on a pedestal, then there's also this.
The majority of Korean men that I've met in this country have this intense ire against feminism. I mean, they use the word feminist like it's a slur. I can't count the number of times I've heard a Korean man describe a woman, whether it's, someone they went on a date with or someone they work with, or, it's a mutual friend, and it'll always be followed up with, but she's a feminist. And anytime I push back, these Korean men are always insistent that American feminism and Korean feminism are different. So I don't know what I'm talking about. And admittedly, there's still a lot about this Korean political landscape that I don't know much about. There's still so much for me to learn. But anytime the topic does come up, it feels like there's a fucking ocean of difference between the way that we just view the world.
So, there's that. Which, yes, if you do need reminding, Korea is still very much a more misogynistic society. And all I'm going to say about that is Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world. And usually when there's a really big problem like that within a country, it stems from wider social issues. I would like to discuss the dangers of this over-romanticization of Korean men. The main reason, I think, being that it leads to a certain level of delusion within naive foreign women. Women who wholeheartedly believe in this romanticized version of Korean men and so commit to visiting Korea with the full expectation of meeting a Korean man that has stepped straight out of a K-drama. So I'm sure most of you have probably seen the very delusional woman who booked a trip to Seoul, South Korea, with this exact expectation of meeting her K-drama oppa.
What's going on here?
And then she claims that she's been gaslit by the entire country.
You've been catfished. It's really disturbing. I wish to leave immediately.
It is absolutely wild to me that she actually A, filmed this, and B, posted it on the internet, not expecting the backlash that she received for this video. Like, imagine claiming that you have been catfished by an entire country because you fully expected with your whole chest that every Korean man looked like a K-drama actor. She had the audacity to film people without their consent, which, by the way, is a huge thing in Korea. You should not ever do that. But not only did she film them without their consent, she posted them online, ridiculing them for their looks, which is absolutely disgusting. Like, I just can't imagine what would possess somebody to make a video like this and post it online for people to actually see. This is why it's dangerous, because it creates this fantasy for people to believe in. And then when they go to Korea and realize that, you know, shocker, not every Korean man looks like a K-drama actor or a K-pop idol, they are heavily disappointed by this, as if like this is something that was never even, like this had never occurred to them before. Like they believed in this fantasy to the point where they couldn't believe that the real Korea was so different from what they had imagined. And I have met people myself here in Korea who came to Korea for the purpose of meeting a Korean man who they could marry and have children with, essentially, they could marry and start a family with, which is absolutely insane to me. And as I said, very dangerous, because you expect all Korean men to act like a K-drama actor. You're not really going to expect them to ever be abusive or anything towards you. There is a danger in expecting a certain race of people to never be abusive or even be capable of being abusive.
얘 누가 말해줄 거야? 내가 말해줘야 되나? 백마라 코리안 드라마 찍고 싶냐? I strongly encourage you to check this out. Korea is a country where rape is vastly underreported, more so for foreign women, because the support system is really lacking. Not only is there a language barrier, but the misogyny in Korea for rape victims is gonna have them looking at you. I'm sure you asked for it. And making the kind of content you're making right now could actually be shown in court to say what kind of woman you are. You may think you're just a cute white woman looking for love in Korea. Koreans in Korea will say you got exactly what you were looking for. If you say that you went on a date thinking you were going on a date, or just out with a friend, but with drinks he had expectations, and if he didn't get what he wanted. Because this is the most common mistake white women in particular seem to make. In Korea, they think they're going out on a date, but a lot of times Korean men expect more. Not even just of white women. I mean, more so with white women, because that's why they have the whole saying, let's ride the white horse. But they commonly do it to their own too. I don't know where you've been living, but this is a really naive content to be making. In 2024, like, hello, are we not reading the news? K-dramas are not real?
She 100% hit the nail on the head. This is why this over-romanticization of Korean men is so dangerous. Because naive women like this come to this country expecting their K-drama fantasy, and at worst, like in the worst case scenario, they can get assaulted because they blindly believed that no Korean man would be capable of ever doing such a thing. They blindly believe that they are safe no matter what, in whatever situation with whatever Korean man, because the fact that he is Korean prevents anything bad from happening to them. And as that woman showed in her TikTok, there have been many articles written about SA against foreign women in Korea. And it's not just foreign women, as she said too, it's their own as well. It's just that as a foreign woman, you are much, much, much less likely to get the level of support that you need. Now, this fetishization goes both ways. Korean men also fetishize that to foreign women too. And that's when things get very dangerous indeed, especially coupled with the fact that Korean men often believe that white women, or foreign women in general, actually, not just white women, are much more sexually open. Thanks to this guy who literally commented that in one of my previous videos, literally proving my point. Couple it with that, and it's a very dangerous situation indeed. There's a harmful cycle of stereotypes that affects both sides. There is good and bad in every single culture, and no culture or nationality of people should ever be put on a pedestal, as that really isn't fair to anyone. I really just want to end this video by saying, if you are dating in Korea, then please approach relationships in the exact same way that you would in your home country. You know, approach relationships with realistic expectations. Don't go into it thinking that all Korean men are perfect and ideal. See people as individuals, not these cultural stereotypes. Acknowledge cultural differences, but definitely do not allow social media to shape your worldview, especially not to the extent where you romanticize an entire nationality of people. If you've had your own experiences, good or bad, then please do let me know what they are in the comments below. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, please make sure to like the video. Please let me know your experience in the comments below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!